Hello and welcome to the Virtual Reality Certificate Program webinar event Today we're going to go over just some details of the program, some information about the structure, a little bit of highlights of the curriculum, and introduce you to some of our faculty through some of their bios and information on here, as well as give you the next steps to get started with the program and just generally hear a little bit more from us. So this first slide here, we're talking about the program details. So this is an easy way to have a look at the cadence and timeline of the program. So as you may know, the program is a fully online asynchronous program, meaning there are no set meeting times. However, there are office hours and synchronous times that the instructors will be available. So it's still a pretty supportive program. The classes are all 6 weeks long, and so the classes will run in the first half and then second half of every semester. And so what you're seeing here is that you take 2 classes per semester, but only one at a time. So when you first start, you would be taking Intro to Virtual Reality 1 in the first half of the semester. You finish that one up, you have about a week between, and then in the second half of the semester, you would be taking Introduction to Virtual Reality 2. And so the same thing would just repeat for the second semester you're enrolled and again for the third semester. And so each semester is about 3 months long. You might take it starting in the fall in your first semester, and then in the spring semester, and then in the summer semester. So it can be completed within 1 calendar year. So a quick preview of some of the curriculum. So the first step there, that Intro to Virtual Reality, is really just introducing you to the basics of the ideas of virtual reality, getting everyone on a level playing field of understanding, and then starting to design and build your own virtual 3D worlds. So you'll be able to navigate custom environments interactively using some usually stock assets. So this is where you'll learn techniques in constructing those environments with stock assets, as well as first and third person navigation, lighting, animation, stock character animation, and localized sound, and virtual camera and recording. So this is important to note that the outcome of this class has projects that are viewable on the computer or on the web. So this does not yet get into outputting to a headset. So that gets us to course number 2, which is the Intro to Virtual Reality 2, a continuation of that first intro. And so this is where you're going to be adding some complexity to the interactivity in your 3D worlds. So you're learning interactivity with the stock scripts that you're using, scene switching, grabbable objects, camera animation, and then first and foremost, the really important, exciting part here is that this is the first class that you'd be outputting your final project to be viewable on a headset. So that's really where the headset comes in and is required in that step. So before you start your second class, you would need to purchase the Oculus headset that is in current use at that time. And that is not part of tuition because it does change so rapidly that we want to make sure that you're purchasing it on your own and that it is completely up to date. So quickly here, this is our instructor, Billy Fauché, and Billy teaches the first 2 classes, so Introduction to Virtual Reality 1 and 2. And so a quick note just about who Billy is. Billy did graduate from the SMFA at Tufts, so he's an alumni of our Masters of Fine Arts program here. And so this definitely means, he brings an artist's mindset to his teaching and his teaching of the foundations of virtual reality. He studies really, his work is the intersection and really the blur between physical and virtual worlds, as well as the blurring of child and adult, and in some cases through the reenactment of childhood memories using VR environments and experiences. And so what we have there is just a screenshot of his website that we definitely encourage you to check out to learn more about his work. Billy's a great asset to the program. He has experience with the study of VR, the history of it, and really is interested in thinking critically about how we can use VR going forward. And here we're just going to hear a little clip from Billy talking about what's taught in the first classes and just generally his approach and take on virtual reality.
What's exciting about it is that I think it is pretty clear that VR hasn't found its final form yet, and that it's becoming more accessible. People have headsets and have access to headsets today, whereas in the past, in the 90s, early 2000s, even the 80s, that was kind of unimaginable that someone would have a headset where they could do interactive VR in their house. So that is exciting. And at the same time, I think there's a sense that VR is not fully worked out yet. The headset is still a little clunky. The experiences are not quite convincing a lot of the times. I think what's really exciting about VR right now is that it is in that in between state. And I think that's why it's fun to work in it right now. If it was a completely resolved medium that had lots of history and lots of ways of doing things and felt resolved, then it might not be as exciting to imagine new ways of using it. But I think that there is going to be a virtual component to all of our lives in the future in some way, whether that's in a headset. I'm not convinced, but I think that more and more that there is going to be this non-physical existence that we have to maintain or create or imagine. So that's sort of how I see VR right now.
Awesome. And then, so just a clip here, we have a quote from a student who recently completed the Intro to VR1 course, and I really thought that this quote got at how interactive the program still is and how there is support despite it being an asynchronous program. So it kind of gives you those best of both worlds where there's no scheduled time that you have to be in class online, that you have to work your schedule around. You can work within the weekly modules of assignments at your own pace, getting things done, of course, by deadlines, but it's when you have an hour here or there, it's really up to you to assign your time in that way. But then you do also have access to office hours that the instructors will put on, so you can reach them in a synchronous way by attending those office hours if you do have questions or want to troubleshoot with somebody a little bit. And so now just moving along to the third class in the program, and that's the Interactive Programming for VR class. And so this one gets a little bit more on the technical side of things, and learning, you have the basics under your belt, but wanting to now start working with your own coding. So this will teach the core principles of coding for graphics, mostly working with development in C# and C++ for the interactivity piece, working on things such as elements for variables, loops, conditions, functions, and input and output. And then obviously progressing scripts into larger scripts in Unity so that you can enhance and further enhance your interactivity within your worlds. And so here we have our instructor for the interactive programming course. And so this is Aubrey Simonson. And Aubrey is a recent MIT graduate with a Master of Science in Media Arts and Sciences and worked there at the MIT Media Lab. And Aubrey's thesis was surrounding integrative system for interaction in virtual environments. And so Aubrey is super passionate about VR and its uses, and really thinking again critically about how it's used and how it relates to different parts of our world. Here's a screenshot from Aubrey's website. So you'll see on the top section there is a clip and a video from a virtual reality video game about bird watching, so a really interactive space. And the second piece there is Pockets, which is an application that Aubrey had worked on, which allows people to, in virtual worlds, carry things in virtual reality. So definitely encourage folks to check out Aubrey's page. There's a lot of cool stuff on there. And so moving on now to the fourth class in the 6-course sequence. This is our 3D modeling course. And so you'll be using Blender, the open source software, to create custom models for video gaming and VR, working on building custom objects, environments, and characters to be used inside of a Unity project. And of course, then things such as 3D sculpting, 3D animation, basic rigging, UV mapping, custom materials and textures, importing, exporting, all of these things that really get into working more deeply with the 3D world. And so here we have our instructor for the 3D modeling course, Brad Lee. And Brad, as you can see there by his bio is a designer, artist, and developer. He's also a recent graduate from RISD, the Rhode Island School of Design, with a master's in architecture. So really working with the 3D world and 3D modeling in that sense. He's also applied some of his work into the virtual worlds. So you'll see here on the right-hand side is a GIF of his work in VR, which is called Memory Place, and that's an interactive game. So we encourage folks to also go to Brad's website and take a look at his work there. And lastly, we have our final 2 courses in the program, which are also split into a 1 and 2 level, similarly to the Virtual Reality 1 and 2 Introduction. And so in Advanced VR 1, students are looking at constructing fully interactive and really immersive environments, really working specifically and thinking about getting it output to a headset. And so working on commercial level things, scripted interactivity for triggered events and animations, organizing multiple scenes, adding interactive UI elements, lighting, custom physics, really getting into just an advanced level of advancing your worlds. And then in the final course, the second part of the advanced course, looking into the ideas within AR and XR projects using Unity Mars to create hybrid virtual actual experiences. So really starting to also consider not just the virtual worlds, but the hybrid worlds with augmented reality in this sense. And so here we have just kind of a summer highlight or of some of the ways that VR is being used currently. And of course, this is certainly not exhaustive. This is just a smattering of different things that we've seen people doing, what we have some students who are interested in. So there's, research and therapy. For example, we have somebody here at Tufts who is studying pain management using virtual reality and seeing if, therapies can be done in virtual worlds to distract patients from their pain and really start to work away from those pain triggers. Space travel, of course, going into space and viewing what it might be like to walk, on various planets. Construction and architectural design. So certainly, as architects build a building, they're now able to really look at their plans in a virtual way that they can do a walkthrough without physically having built the space yet. Museums and natural parks. Of course, this became a bigger thing during the COVID-19 pandemic, where museums could now still invite their members and interested visitors to walk through their galleries and really experience it as if they are there in person and still view artwork at a higher quality level than just looking through images. And of course, something that we're interested in working in education is the focus on designing virtual worlds for just furthering immersive education. So an example here is learning about a cardiovascular system and actually putting a headset on and viewing and walking through the different ventricles and parts of the heart and arteries and being able to see it in that way to really fully experience it. This is just kind of a summary of where VR might take you. So some job titles on the left that we've seen in some of our research, and then of course on the right, really just reasons why VR is such a really new field in this way, and it's projected to grow immensely over the coming years. And so, certainly a good time to get some of the basics into your skill set so that you can apply it to whatever field you might be looking to grow into. And so that was why VR, and now this is why Tufts. And so some of the highlights of this program and what we offer is that it's fully asynchronous. Again, so there's not a set meeting time, it really fits into your schedule, but you do have that faculty access, as I had mentioned. There's also a program advisor, so there's somebody in addition to your faculty member at that time who is there throughout the program for you to really think about your career progression, what you want to study, and how you want to apply it to either a current job or a future job, and really just act as a helper and advisor for you. Specifically, coming out of an art school, there aren't many VR programs out there that come directly from a traditional art school. And so really, a lot of our faculty, as you've seen, are coming with artistic backgrounds or graduate level degrees in the arts. And so the curriculum definitely takes an artistic lean in that sense. And then, of course, studying VR at an institution it's renowned for research, being an R1 institution at Tufts University. There are a lot of, things to explore, things that are happening with VR at the university that can certainly inform your work and study here. And then, of course, just getting these skills in 1 year. It's quick, it's online. It can definitely add something to your resume really in the first few classes, and then, of course, within the year, a full completed certificate. So finally here, that's the application link. So quickly there, smfatufts.slideroom.com. You can access our application form there. The application is very straightforward. It doesn't take really more than 5 to 10 minutes to fill out. It's mostly just to let us know that you're interested in completing the full program rather than just taking a class. And you will upload a resume or an unofficial transcript, write a few sentences to us as to why you're interested in particular in VR, and then there is a $45 application fee. And then summing up all of the costs here, the program costs, there is a $65 annual registration fee. So depending on when you register within our program year, you would pay that either only once or twice, of course, depending on how long it takes you to complete the program. It is intended to be completed within 1 calendar year. And then per course is $795, so there's 6 required courses to complete the certificate, and so that brings you to $4,770 for the entire program completed and added to your resume. So we hope that you'll join us. Definitely let us know if you have any questions. We can always be reached at smfa@tufts.edu. I'm looking forward to hearing from you.